All right, attorneys, you know the rules. Please follow the rules. You're not ready to approach the court if you have not conferred with your client or conferred with the state. And then, please, once you have let the clerk know to pull your file, don't just stand here and stare me down. Just have a seat. I'm going to call you in the order of appearance. All right, thank you. Confirm.
So how was your weekend, Judge?
Well, let me tell you, it wasn't a Lifetime movie, but it could have been. But it was a lot of fun. So Saturday, I went to this gala that I was invited to where they wanted me to speak. It was in Live Oak. 35 was insane.
That's where I live, Judge.
Well, going there was easy because, you had vision, the lights were out. Going back, all I could do was pray, God, please let this GPS not lead me off a highway that does not exist. And it is pitch black. And there's nowhere to pull over to the right. So if the police were behind me, I would turn on my flashers and say, hey, there's no place to pull over. I would. And you know what? And depending on who the judge is, I don't know if I would do a bench trial or not. I'd be like, I would say, Bashan, are you on the jury? And then after that, I immediately went to another gala. And that didn't end until 10:30. That was for the veterans. So it was great. I was. And I talked to my mom. And when I talked to her, guess what she said? Stephanie, you're sure saying the word like a lot. I'm like, oh my gosh, I went to the barber shop and got a haircut. So if I say the word like, you all have my permission to buzz me or something. But someone did give me a book because I was supposed to speak on people who inspire you.
How did your speech turn out?
Oh, I think, well, they said it was very entertaining, but the funniest part, I go there and the person who invited me to speak was someone who was actually on jury duty. And so they said they were looking for a speaker and they're like, I know the perfect person. And you know what ended up happening? The expectations were so high. I said, could everybody lower your expectations for my speech? But the impact you have on people's life. So at the second gala, this lady came up to me and said, you don't remember me, do you? And I said, yes, I do, Miss Perkins. And she wrote a book. And she told me I'm in it. So I'm like, wow. So I'm going to read it. Oh, and then I tried to make it back in time to watch the game. And by the time I made it back to my humble abode, it was already in the late second quarter.
It-
Oh, it was.
I loved it every minute.
I did too, because, and let me just tell you why I loved it. I loved it for Jalen Hurts, and this is why. And I'm no Jalen Hurts fan, all because of the LSU connection, but because the last time they played them, he should have been MVP. To me, MVP should not be based upon who wins. It should be based who's the most valuable player. So I was happy that they won. And if I were a gambler, which I'm not, I would have put my money on that in Vegas, but.
I would have put money on that, the Homes would have still not any interceptions.
Oh, I would have.
Or.
I mean, I thought at least one, but not like, what do you do, 3?
Niall,
Because you know what I would have
unplug
done?
that fan in my room, Niall.
Excuse me, Miss Williams. Thank you. So anyway, I would have,
Excuse
I
me.
would have thought it would have. Oh my gosh. You're on mute. Remain on mute until I unmute you. Somebody's messing with the fan. That's what we used to do when we were young children. And Vashon, I'm glad I had a chance to apologize to my grandmother before she passed, because we would walk home from school and she babysat us, right? And you have the box fan in the window. We would stand in front of it like we smelled so great. She never said, y'all smell bad, but there's a schoolhouse smell that you get. It's indescribable. All right, Miss Williams, you can unmute.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Okay, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. So we have an issue.
Yes, ma'am, I know.
All right, you need to start paying.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I don't have an excuse. I just don't have any work right now. I'm living with my dad. He has dementia. He really doesn't have no one but me and my kids. My mom passed, so it's hard right now.
So here's the thing, my understanding from reading everything is that one, he's receiving SSI. Everybody can't be living off of his benefits. And
He's not. Yes, ma'am.
but you've been on probation since 2018 and
Right.
you paid zero.
Yes, ma'am.
There's no excuse for paying zero.
Yes, ma'am.
So you have to pay something.
Okay. I don't. Is this the judge I'm speaking with,
Yes, it is. That's what the robe is.
Miss Boyd?
Yes.
Um, I was gonna ask you what can I pay to get, because this has been like a burden on me. I
Well,
know I can't afford $4,000.
here's the thing. You know what was a burden?
Yes,
And I'm not
ma'am.
trying to be mean,
I
but
understand. No, I understand. Is anything you say, I understand.
yeah, because I mean, the theft of property, that was a burden on somebody.
Right.
So you would have paid something.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be done with this, but you have paid nothing.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's been since 2018.
Well, I was trying to see if my sister,
I'm sorry, see if your sister could do what?
if she can let me borrow like $1,000. I was just telling my other probation officer here in Houston to see if I can pay something to get out, because I know I won't be able to pay 4,000, and I will have to pay her that back.
Mhm. But I mean, you're gonna have to start paying something. And I wasn't the judge who placed you on probation previously. I don't know why somebody hasn't already told you you need to start paying
Yeah,
something
because,
back.
and I also had asked I had asked before the previous time, is there any way that I can like talk to that judge to lower the things, and they told me that wasn't an option.
No, I mean, you have to pay what you owe. And I'm not even, the problem is I have some people who are on probation and they paid something, you paid nothing, zero. And that's been zero since 2018.
Okay, so can I ask one question? I only have one.
You can ask many questions.
Okay, because I signed the year extension. If I was to pay something within the year and it don't be the total $4,000, would I be punished then?
I'll consider things, but you need to pay.
Okay.
You need to pay $1,500.
Okay, if I pay $1,500, can I give y'all a call and let you know that the $1,500 is paid
Oh, yes.
and get off?
Well, we'll see once you pay the $1,500.
Okay. Cause I'm gonna try to borrow that from my sister and just try to pay her back in babysitting.
All right. So what I can tell you is while people are with me on deferred adjudication, I don't allow babysitting. I don't allow them to have employment
No,
with my,
ma'am, I do hair as well, but it just doesn't bring in. I just started really. I just got a hair school. I just started braiding. It's not bringing in any big money yet, but I do braid hair as well. Yes, ma'am.
okay. All right. So just so you know, in this court, I don't allow people on probation to be home health care provider or to work with minors.
No, ma'am, I don't do any of that.
All right. Probation. Is there anything else? All right. Thank you.
Miss hello,
Yes.
Miss Bo. Is this Miss Boyd again?
Yes, this is Judge Boyd.
Okay, so Ms. Boyd, if she was to let me
This is
borrow the
Judge Boyd.
I'm sorry, Judge Boyd, I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Yes.
Judge Boyd, if she was to let me borrow the $1,500, can I then give Ms. Fuentes a call?
Oh, you can call whomever. You can call probation.
Okay. Well, I'll try to do that within the week if that's okay.
Yes, that would probably help you a lot.
Okay.
All right, Ms. Abrams, do you need to speak with her?
No, Judge, I'm very well.
All right, probation will call you.
Okay, thank you so much. Y'all have a good day.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Deputy Laura, as you know, I normally don't have problems with people calling me Miss Boyd, but that was a different circumstance. No, okay, let me explain. No, let me explain to you the reason why I haven't started the housemaid. I am going to start it this weekend. I'm almost done with the blood guard. I got to see what happens. This book is so. Deputy Laura, this book, I'm telling you, this book is so good. Blood guard, gotta do it, gotta do it. All right, and Norma on Williams. Give me a reset date on that and she can appear by Zoom and let's recall it at the end of the month to see where she is on making any payments. All right, so we'll be back on the 27th. Victoria Lopez. Like your hair. Hello, how are you doing this morning?
Fine, ma'am, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's Monday.
Yes, ma'am.
Guess what? Only good things can happen.
Yes.
At least we should think that.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what we're hoping for.
So before we go on the record, have you all reached an agreement on bond amount?
We have not, Your Honor. State and defense would make their respective recommendation.
All right, court is calling cause number NM 743-783 State versus Victoria Lopez. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Andrew Harris, Salem.
Defense?
Doug Campbell for Ms. Lopez.
And are you Ms. Lopez?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we're hearing a motion to set bond. State, do you have any witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Defense, any witnesses?
Judge, I probably am just going to go with argument.
All right, so defense, what are you requesting?
Bond amount is $7,500.
Uh,
All right, and defense, what are you requesting?
Obviously less than that, Judge. My client was out on bond. She, for a possession case, it was less than a gram. She picked up another case, her bond was surrendered, and she would like, I mean, we can't get that reinstated, but she would like a bond closer to the $1,000 level. She will appear for trial if we have to appear for trial.
All right, the $7,500 bond, did she make that bond previously?
The 7,500, no, it's never been said. She's remanded without a bond right now.
Ah, so on this
But she
case,
did make the $1,000 bond, and she's made the $1,000 bond on the other one. That's
all
just-
right, so this was previously $1,000 bond.
Yes, Judge.
All right, and the
Your Honor.
new, yes,
I apologize. If we're talking about nightmag numbers C43783,
74383.
yes.
the previous bond amount set on December 24th of 2023 was $5,000.
I'm sorry, Judge, you're right. You're right. I apologize.
All right, so that was $5,000 on this case, the instant case,
Yes,
and she made that bond.
she did make that bond.
All right, then the next question is the case that she's alleged to have committed, the new case, what's that cause number?
That one is 2024 PF 27235.
And what is the bond amount on that case?
I want to say that's $1,000.
And what is the offense?
Possession less than a gram.
And what is her criminal history?
Judge, the state probably has a better picture of that, but it looks like she's got a theft out of County Court 13, excuse me.
Well, Your Honor, Ms. Lopez has 4 current active cases, 2024 PF 27235, 2025 CC 00.
Wait, just 1 second. So if you could list the open active cases she has for me, what the offense is and what's the alleged offense.
Possession controlled substance PG one, less than a gram. Offense date alleged offense date December 2024. Theft of property greater than $750 and less than $2,500 with the same offense date. Theft of property with less than $50 with previous conviction. Offense date December 23rd, 2003. And the instant case with the same offense date.
All right, so the case that's before me today, the alleged offense date is from 2023.
Yes.
All right. So here's my question. We are now in 2025. Why isn't the laboratory results in for this case? And why shouldn't I give her a PR bond on this case if there's no lab results? And when are the lab results coming? Because I am shocked that we have a 2023 case and there are no lab results. I can understand the possession less than a gram, that's December 12th, 2024. And Bashan, you know what I find shocking? All right, court is calling 2025 CR 001448W State versus Victoria Lopez. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state
Andrew Harris Sadelman.
defense?
Doug Campbell for Ms. Lopez.
And are you Ms. Lopez?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
All right, we're back on the record in 2025 CR 001448W. Did you understand you're charged with possession of a controlled substance penalty group 1 less than 1 gram? That's a state jail felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 180 days up to 2 years in the state jail facility and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty and sentence you up to 2 years in the state jail facility and up to $10,000 fine?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
According to the plea, the state recommends deferred adjudication. This will run concurrent with County Court Cause number 724150. They are taking into consideration 2024 PF 27235, 2025 CC 000769. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes.
Defense, is that the plea?
It is.
State, is that the plea?
Yes, Judge.
Outside the agreement, the state is recommending that your community supervision be for a term of 4 years. Did you understand that's a recommendation from the state and the court does not have to follow that recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Then to the offenses charge, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and the court will review the same. Reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. Court will defer finding of guilt as you've applied for deferred adjudication. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Judge.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Judge Victoria's, obviously she's got an addiction. She'd like to get an assistance for that addiction, but she also has 5 children under the age of 18 that she cares for. She's got a job at an insurance company, and she would like a chance to continue her life out there in the world. With that in mind, I know the court is going to order a TAP evaluation, and we'd ask that the court allow her to do the TAP evaluation out there.
So who are your children with now?
My mother's currently watching. 4 of them have graduated already.
Okay, so what are your children's ages?
I have the oldest is 21, 18, 20. My 17-year-old graduated early. And then the ages 2 to 8, 14.
All right, so has Child Protective Services been in your life?
Yes, they have.
All right, so did they place your children with your mom? That's either yes or no.
Yes, ma'am. Well, yes, ma'am.
All right, have your rights been terminated?
No, ma'am.
So why were you with this guy? And this is from, I guess, 2023. So why were you with him?
This is a bad mistake. that
No, I mean,
made.
these are choices. Did
Yes,
he
ma'am.
force you to be with him?
No, ma'am.
So that was a choice you made to hang your star to him.
Yes.
So why would you be with him? And you have children?
Um, at the time I was homeless at that time. I do have an apartment now. I've had an apartment for about 4 months now, and I've come a long way from that time of my life.
So who lives with you at that apartment?
Currently me, my 14-year-old. That's all.
Because,
That's all, ma'am. Just me and my 14-year-old.
and why were you stealing at Melrose?
I needed some clothes.
And when's the last time you used?
Last time I used.
Mhm.
When I had got caught, my last conviction, maybe about 3 months ago. 3 months ago.
Judge, I think she means her last arrest, not conviction.
No, I'm sorry, my last arrest, yes, correct.
So your last arrest was 3 or 4 months ago,
Yes, ma'am.
and that's the last time you used.
Yes, ma'am.
So the only time you have not been using is when you've been in custody.
No, I would use recreational, off and on.
All right, so when you're in custody, I mean, I know sometimes people make things at the jail, but you use when you're not in custody.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so this is the thing. I need you to be 100% honest with me, because if I grant your application for deferred adjudication, if you're unsuccessful and a motion to revoke is filed, you're looking at 2 years in the state jail facility. I want you to be successful. Obviously, the state and your council wants you to be successful. So what have you been using in the past?
I use, methamphetamine.
And what else?
That was it, ma'am.
And how often were you using?
Recreational. Once or twice a month, maybe, not.
All right, see, once or twice a month does not result in you stealing clothes at Melrose and having drugs in your bra. So, I mean, it's more than once or twice a month,
No, ma'am.
because otherwise CPS would not have been in your life. So
CPS wasn't, I'm sorry,
was CPS in your life for drugs and everything
No, ma'am.
else? Why?
it was an abusive relationship.
All right, see, people always say that, but I do know that CPS will not, and you've done CPS, CPS is not removing children from your custody or allowing your mother to take your children because you're being abused. Either they're removing them because you decide that you're going to stay with that guy and not put your children first, or either because there's drug use. But if you have an issue where you're in an abusive relationship, CPS will help you out of that abusive relationship. But if you choose to stay and choose the man over your children, that's when children are placed somewhere else.
And also for stability, I didn't have no form of stability. No, I was homeless.
No, CPS will help you get housing. Your attorney will tell you that.
They, I'm sorry, ma'am, but the CPS worker said that she was not allowed to help with housing.
No, that's,
That is true, actually.
Yes.
Well,
They can help
no.
get them on the list, but that's.
they
Yes.
as far
will
as
get
they
them
go.
on the list.
She said that, I'm sorry to interrupt, ma'am, I don't mean to do that.
No, no.
She said that she was not allowed to, she has no strings in that department.
They do if you're in their children's court for addiction.
One question, Judge.
Yes.
Did they ever file a suit against you to terminate your parental rights? Or did you just work with family based?
I work with families.
Okay.
Okay. All right, this is what the court is going to do. The court is going to sentence you to 3 years deferred adjudication. There's to be no contact with Melrose store if they're still in existence. And there's to be no contact with Anthony Reyna, Reyne, Cantu Jr. There's going to be a TAP evaluation and a felony drug court referral in custody. Counsel, the felony drug court, they'll see her before the week is out.
Okay.
There should be regular reporting by Zoom or in person. There should be regular random UAs. Proof of employment within 30 days. There should be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. There should be no unsupervised contact with minors. There should be 200 hours of community service restitution. Once parenting classes are completed, 100 hours be deducted. How far did you go in school?
I graduated. I have a high school diploma.
All right, what are you planning on doing with your life?
I plan on going to go, apply at Toyota and UPS.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to require parenting classes. Once she completes parenting classes, 100 hours of community service will be deemed satisfied. I'm not going to order you to go to a trade school or obtain a higher level education, but if you do, if you get your CDL license or something of that nature, then the remaining hours will be deemed satisfied. There's going to be field visits 1 time per month until further notice. Probation, is there anything else she needs? Is there anything else you need from the court to be successful?
No, ma'am, I really appreciate this
All right, thank
opportunity.
you. All right, we can go off the record. In this court, communication is key.
Yes.
In order to be successful, talk to your probation officer. If you feel like you're going to use drugs, talk to your probation officer and let your probation officer know. People will tell you, your attorney will probably tell you. Normally, I do not revoke people because they're testing positive if they're trying to help themselves, right? So by you calling probation and telling them, I'm gonna use, that's not necessarily gonna get you revoked. Because you need to know what you need to do in order to be clean and sober. And while you have this safety net, you need to use it. If you feel as though probation is not addressing it, you can always come to the court. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thanks.
But Sean, why is nobody in jeans? It's rodeo. Oh, okay, I'm just shocked by that. Usually the prosecutors come in their jeans. And I'm like, it's rodeo. I guess we're waiting for the rain. Oh, I received a call that it is raining in some parts of San Antonio right now. Hello,
Good morning, Judge.
good morning. All right, who's here on Cody Cross?
May I approach, Judge?
Yes,
Good morning.
good morning.
Your Honor, Mr. Kraus has applied for probation and this court is going to be making that decision today. But
Yes.
part of the plea bargain with the state includes one case in County Court 13 that's going to be taken into consideration and another on which they need him to plead on. So I just want to let the court know that I don't know what's going to happen first or where he needs to physically be, but I'm present for him. And the bailiff staff is maintaining that they have him downstairs. So however you need me to do that, I got a few other cases going on, so.
Well, here's my, let's bring him up.
Is that
Thank you.
document?
Hello,
Good morning.
good morning.
I'm here on one from the docket today.
Okay, did you ask them to pull the file?
I'll do that. I'm learning, Judge.
All right. Court is calling 2024 CR 012731, State of Texas versus Cody Kraus. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state,
Opinion for the state of Texas?
for the defense?
Mark Darling for the defendant, Your Honor.
And are you Cody Cross? All right, both parties agreed to waive the PSI. Is that correct, state?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, according to your plea bargain agreement, the state was proceeding on count 4 only. State waived count 1, 2, and 3 without objection. You waived the PSI. To count 4, you entered a plea of no contest. According to the plea bargain agreement, punishments be assessed at a cap of 6 years in the prison. There's a $1,500 fine. The state opposes your application for deferred adjudication. The state is silent on your application for community supervision. This is to run concurrent with 2024 CC 742862. The state is taking in consideration 2024 CC 742860, 2024 AL 004803, and there's to be no contact with the complainant.
That's not an issue now.
All right. So are there any witnesses, state you're opposed to his application for deferred adjudication?
Correct, yes, ma'am.
And why are you opposed to the application for deferred adjudication?
Given his criminal history, Your Honor, the defendant, even as a juvenile, has many
assault cases, a lot of them involving the same victim. The cases that are being running concurrent NTSC as well, include the same victim. So given the defendant's history for violent offenses, we are opposing his application for deferred adjudication.
All right, and what is his criminal history?
So in 2012, he had 3 juvenile ABI charges. In 2022, he had a burglary of a vehicle charge that he did 1 year of deferred adjudication on.
And did he successfully complete that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay,
He has one of the 2023 ABI cases that's currently pending that's part of this plea deal. The terroristic threat in 2024 that's currently pending as part of the plea deal as well. Another 2024 ABI that's pending as part of this plea deal. And he's got some out-of-state charges from Oklahoma for DUI and possession of a controlled substance that are currently still pending in that state.
all right. All right, any witnesses state with regards to your opposition to deferred adjudication?
No, Your Honor.
All right, defense, any witnesses?
Judge, I'd like to call Ivy Regalado. She's present today for about 5 or 10 minutes of testimony.
Sure, sir. Excuse me, Mr. Kraus, if you'll step over there, please. All right, you can come forward. Could you raise your right hand for me? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record. All right, and could you spell your last name, please?
REGALADO.
All right, I asked you to do that for the court reporter and also for myself. All right, defense?
Ms. Regalado, do you know Cody Kraus?
Yes, I do.
And how do you know him?
I work for Sam Ministries as a rapid housing case manager, and he is one of my clients.
And so is it fair to say that Mr. Kraus was seeking housing through your entity?
Yes, Cody Kraus is on my youth program, and he was homeless, and we have been working together to stabilize him financially, education-wise, and housing-wise.
And what's your understanding of his housing situation right now?
Right now, if he was able to get probation, I would still be able to house him. Because of his age, he is priority on the housing list, because he is under the age of 25. If he was, if he did serve more time and did not get out until he was 25, the chances of him getting housing with any kind of assistance is dramatically reduced.
Okay, and what is his history that you learned during the process of trying to get him housing?
Cody has extensive childhood trauma that has been unresolved. I have been working with him to get into counseling and to take anger management classes. I do understand that he has been in and out of the system for a very long time. But working with him and learning more about him, I do believe that he's not given a fair chance and has not been given a fair chance. And I would like to continue working with him to get him out.
Okay, and when you say he's been in and out of the system, are you talking about as a CPS foster child?
Correct, yes.
And did he qualify for housing before his extended incarceration pursuant to the pending charges? Did he qualify?
Yes,
And your testimony then is that he still qualifies should he be able to get out?
yes, if he was able to get out, he could continue on my caseload for almost another 2 years, which would help him go to therapy free of charge, get housing free of charge. He could go back and get his GED and pursue further education, also free of charge with working with our organization.
And did he indicate a willingness and desire to participate in your organization except for purposes of the housing?
Yes, he did.
Okay, and then does Mr. Kraus have a CPS case wherein he's a parent right now?
Yes, he does.
And does he have obligations under a service plan that he needs to complete in order to maintain his parental rights?
Yes, he does.
Okay, would he be able to do that if he was incarcerated?
I know he did.
Judge, I'll pass the witness.
All right, any questions?
Yes, a few questions. Morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Now, you testified earlier about your interaction with the defendant, Mr. Cody Kraus. Could you please testify again as far as when you first came into contact with him?
I believe it was April of last year, so I've been working with him almost a year. And he was referred to me, by my supervisor.
Okay, almost 1 year of contact with you.
Yes.
Um, were you aware of any of his history prior to that time?
We have some case notes when we get the referral, but most of it is just one-on-one conversations with him.
Were you aware of any of his criminal history at all?
Yes.
Okay, and does his criminal history play any type of role or decision making into his applicability for housing?
Absolutely.
Okay. You mentioned that you have, or that he's going through counseling, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, what kind of counseling is he going through?
So we had put in the referral right before he got arrested, to do, counseling and psychotherapy. And this can be done virtual or in person,
Okay,
with UT Health.
has he been in compliance with his counseling?
And he has not been able to because he's been incarcerated.
Okay.
I will just say that the referral was, voluntary. It's not mandated to stay part of the program. He chose to do that by himself.
Now, are you aware that even after you come into contact with him in April, that he's committing crimes in September?
Yes, I am.
So despite that, that's again not playing a part in your decision for housing on him, correct?
Correct. When he was released, when he went back home, the apartment that we had worked together for him to establish was only in his name.
Okay,
I understand that there was a, violation where he was not supposed to get in contact with her, with the defendant. But that housing was just for Cody. And I'm not making excuses, I'm just offering an explanation, that the other person was not supposed to be in the household. But we were working on, because she would not leave, we were working on getting him rehoused somewhere where she did not know the address to, so that way they would not have contact.
Yep.
And so if he was released on, probation, we can immediately house him somewhere else to where, again, there would be no contact with that time.
no further questions, Ryan.
Any further questions?
Pass it, witness judge.
All right, I have a few questions. So when did you start working with him? What's the month and year?
April 2024.
All right. And when you began working with him, was he already in this relationship?
They were unknown, yes,
All right, and were you aware of that?
yes.
And when you were working with him, was there any work done related to any relationship issues he had with the complainant?
We had done the housing separate from her, just because they were having some issues. Cody had decided just to get the apartment by himself, so that way she would have, his housing could be stable. When that happened, a couple months later, if that, she had stated that she had nowhere to go with their children, so he let her into the apartment. But she was never on the lease, and we were just trying to work it out through going to therapy to see if they were going to work it out or if they were going to just, if she was gonna leave.
All right. And then do you remember what month or of when she moved back in or when she moved in?
May, June, I'm not too certain.
All right. And did you ever do any therapy inside the home?
Me,
Yes, or anyone else?
so we do, at least bi-weekly visits, and so I would go in, we would talk about his goals. She, even though she wasn't my client, she was able to be part of the goals because she had, she was on the housing. But I just worked mainly with him because she didn't really want to do anything. So we did like biopsychosocial assessments, mental health assessments, just to see where he was at mental health wise. And I gave him resources like the UT Health partnership that we have, and he decided to take advantage of that. A little bit too late, but he did volunteer to put in that referral.
All right. So you just said something about housing. So she's on housing, is that correct? But she's not supposed to be in that house.
So the way that our program works is we have one client. So he was the one that got pulled for housing. If the kids come or a spouse come, then they're automatically able to get resources from us, but he would be the main client. So if she chooses not to do any services like the GED or employment, then that's something that's just out of my control. And I would really just focus with him because he's the main one.
Okay. And what type of services are you offering him now if he were placed on probation?
And so if you were placed on probation, immediately we would try to house him. The goal is always under 30 days, but we can make that happen in 24 to 48 hours with the landlords that we work with. And from there, we make a housing goal. So if he wants to go back for his GED, we can set him up with that. We also partner with Goodwill to get him employed, work on a resume, work around his criminal background. And we also work with UT Health for the counseling. Sorry, I'm blanking. But we have resources for everything, and the goal is to, after the year to 2 years, you can be in a place where you can get mental health help, you can get physical help. We can help them with SNAP benefits, we can help them get Medicaid, so we can go to the doctor.
So does he have mental health issues?
I would say yes.
Does he have any drug issues?
Prior, yes.
And prior, what was that?
From my understanding, just weed, not just weed. But I was never, nothing else from my understanding.
All right, if the court were to grant him probation as a part of his housing, could you ensure the court that you would not allow other persons to stay in that house?
Yes, it is. We work with the landlord. If the landlord sees somebody, or if I see somebody, because we can just be dropping visits, we can talk to him about it. We can talk to the court about it, which I'm assuming there would be something in place. But from the conversations that we've had since getting arrested, because we've had a couple, I do think that he genuinely understands the severity of, while you were in that mindset of trying to do the right thing for the right reasons, look at where it's landed you, and I do understand that. I do think that he understands the severity of this cannot happen again.
All right, so here's the problem. I've just been informed by the state that he has out-of-county issues as well, and they're still open. So how is that addressed? Because he has out-of-county cases as well.
I can talk to my supervisor. I know we have worked with out of county. I haven't had that experience with a client, but I do know that we've worked with other courts to resolve that so they can keep their housing.
All right, and if the court were to send him to prison, would you all still be able to work with him when he was released?
No, he would have to get back on the waiting list. But again, there's priority given to ages 18 to 24. Just because so many have just aged out of foster care. That's my grant. So he would have to just go to the general one, which is about a 5 to 7 year waiting list right now. And so he would not be eligible just to get back on the services because he would age out from the program.
All right, and so how long do you have this placement open for him?
Right now, we're just waiting for a decision from you. But we can, if he was released, we could keep him up to almost a year and a half now. From now, because he was only technically housed for about 5 to 6 months, and we can keep him open for 24 months.
All right, so here's the problem. I don't know what's going on with his out-of-county cases. I don't know if he has a warrant for that or not. So he may not be released. So I'm just trying to find out if I were to grant him probation and he's not released from the other county, if they pick him up, how long would the opening last for him? Because if I were to grant him probation, once he's released from custody, I would want him immediately in the program. So is that possible?
Yes, so as long as we know that there's updates, as long as we have updates, so even me coming here today, that's something that I can place note that he's still my client and we can keep him open. And that doesn't go towards the year and a half. So as long as we know where he's at, what's happening and there's updates, then we can keep him open so that the day he's released, he has somewhere to go.
All right. Thank you so much for coming down.
Thank you, John.
Oh, I'm sorry. Any other questions?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Maybe just one question more, if that's
Sure.
okay. You mentioned earlier that in your opinion, you feel like you've got mental health issues. Is that correct? And have you had any training or experience being a mental health professional?
And so I have a trauma informed, I have my trauma informed care certificate. We do extensive training, with childhood issues, with ACEs, we do biopsychosocials. And then from there, we take it to a professional, but I think anybody with that kind of childhood knows kind of issues. is that-
I understand. But have you ever made a mental health diagnosis yourself?
No.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, is there anything else?
I just wanted to call Mr. Kraus for a second, Judge.
All right, thank you. All right, so before you call him as a witness. I don't know, he may say something that will make me make up my mind, or he may not. But what I'm gonna tell both parties, there are two things that I need to know before I can make a ruling on whether or not to send him to prison or whether or not to place him on probation. Two things I need to know. Somebody needs to contact whoever his attorney is out of county to find out what level those DWIs are and exactly what is going to be happening with that. Because if they are, sending him to jail, if it's a misdemeanor, or sending him to prison, then all of this is for naught. So I need that. And if somebody wants to call the complainant as a witness and have them zoom in, that would be appreciated.
Apparently, we have reached out to the complainant and she's not getting back advice, so I don't know that that's gonna be possible for the state's end.
All right. So counsel, how long will it take you to find out who his attorney is and what is happening with the misdemeanor cases or felony cases that are in that other county?
Well, that's largely dependent on the quality of information that the state can give me so I can begin my search. I'm not
Let me help
aware
you
of
with that.
these.
Come forward, sir. Come forward.
Yes.
What county are your other cases out of?
It's Oklahoma City. They had, when I first. got them,
No. Listen to my questions. What county are your cases out of?
Around Oklahoma.
All right. Do you know your case number?
No.
Do you know who your attorney is there? All right, so we're off the record. This is the court's suggestion that you call Oklahoma, the county that he's out of, get in touch with the public defender's office, because I think they have a public defender there, and find out what is happening with his cases there.
I can do that, Judge.
Because my hands will be tied depending on what is happening there. So how much time do you want, counsel?
You know, Your Honor, I was probably about 3 days. I'd like, if I could come back on Thursday, that'd probably be good, or
All right, Ms. Ferguson, on this case, if you can recall it for Thursday. And to your witness, are you able to come back on Thursday? All right, so if you can be back here on Thursday, that would be great. All right, is there anything else?
nothing from the defense, Judge.
Your Honor,
Nothing from the state.
may I speak?
No, that's probably not in your best interest.
It's going on.
All right, so we'll be back on February 13th.
All right, thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.